All right, ladies. So for today's class, we're going to continue to look at the effects of the Industrial Revolution. So for today's class, we would have looked at a few things. You are not going to get a quick recap. I would have done the recap already. So the objective is to look at the effects. So what are some of the effects that we would have looked at last week? Effects. The first effect we looked at two effects.
Positive and negative.
We looked at positive and negative, yes, but positive and negative of what?
Urbanization and population growth.
Very good. Urbanization and population growth. All right. So what do we mean by population growth? Population growth?
Increase in citizens.
Anyone?
Increase in numbers of citizens or people in the country.
Yes, so the population increased. So why was there population growth in Britain during the Industrial Revolution?
Because like manufacturing expanded and people tend to like get more food and import from countries. The people were healthier and they had like more children and so forth.
Yeah.
Very good. So as a result of the countries Britain having more access to food because of the new machines that they would have developed, then for sure, then people are now way healthier. But is that all right, so was that always the case? Was that always the case in terms of population growth?
No, sir.
All right, what are some of the negative effects of population growth?
New diseases developed and
Yes.
it was not really sanitized properly. And everybody
Yes.
was overcrowded.
Medicine.
All right, thank you very much. Anderson?
Sir, medicine, food, and water were very scarce.
Yes. Correct. Correct. Once.
Electricity and water was used more.
Yes, electricity and water was used more. And so the water, some of the waters actually in Britain at the time were contaminated. So you have diseases that emerge like cholera. Some people got sick because everyone is living in the same space. Anybody has ever been downtown before?
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh, sir, I love downtown.
Yes, but full I know everybody loves downtown because downtown is very colorful. But is it all the time?
What? Which one of the downtown?
The garbage.
You don't find that.
Downtown Kingston?
Repeat.
Sir, which one of the downtown Taylor talking?
Downtown Kingston.
Downtown Kingston,
Yeah,
it's so great there.
Sir, downtown Kingston is not colorful.
You don't-
There's only where they sell
I must be done a glorious Arabies done this as I thought. Must this
Are you talking about where the banks are and those places?
No, we're talking about downtown in general. Downtown is just colorful.
No,
No, sir, no.
All the garbage.
But one of the
The
things,
market.
tell me one of the reasons that why you think downtown is not colorful.
Sir, because yes, in some
Alisa,
places it is overcrowded
it was
and people are too close to each other. And
Yes.
also there's crime and
There are
dirty.
a lot of
It is
dirt. It's really dirty.
polluted
Sir.
water is there.
Sir,
Dirty.
they should,
Are
sir,
very
they
dark.
should be- They should be like America and charge if you throw garbage on the ground.
Very good. Now, ladies, you see, when you are discussing population growth in your test or your paper, Just think about downtown. That explains what was going on in Britain at the time. Overcrowded. In fact, it was so overcrowded that people were actually walking in the streets. Yes. And do you realize that when you go some parts of downtown, there's a stench? Anybody know?
Yes, sir.
Have that experience?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, to the
David.
part that
Sir, at Mother's, down that road.
Yes. Right.
sir, closer to the park, sir.
Right
Sir,
along the park. And in fact,
Yes,
you will
sir.
see the stains, the pee stains on the wall. When you are driving past, that was this. All right. So in Britain, it was actually worse than downtown during this time. Worst. And so that's one of the reasons, ladies, there was actually some negative effects of population growth and urbanization. Some negative effects. We have positive effects because the mere fact that the population grew, and there was a reason why the population grew, was because of the, what we call the availability of food, and people moving from the rural areas into the town, and you're having, you know, all of these different growth. But at the same time, once the population grew, the population just expanded significantly. I'm coming, Fraser. The population expanded significantly that the place was just so overcrowded. Look at this city for sure. Manchester. Manchester City in England at the time had 35,000 people in 1804. And by 1841, the population increased to 353,000. This is quite a lot of people for a small space. Yes, Fraser, Barrett Fraser, over to you.
Barnett Fraser, sir, but
Barnett, sorry, my bad. Go again. Go ahead, Barnett.
I wanted to say why I thought downtown was bad, which
Go ahead.
which was because like when it rains, if you have on like slippers or Crocs, and like depending on if it rains heavily or if it rains too much, and you have on slippers, you have to step up in the water, and sometimes like when you're walking, there's barely any shelter to walk on them also.
Yes, I agree. It is the same as sometimes, and we realize that Half-Way is quietly becoming downtown. Especially,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
especially by where our school is.
Yeah. The back gate.
The back gate, yes, it's quietly, you know, just like it's emerging like that. But that's one
And
of
it's
the
crowded in the
always.
afternoon, especially. It is annoying.
Yes, that is the
And it
truth.
also smells bad because one time a madman ended up defecating there by the school where the water.
In fact, that is almost every day.
Facts.
Yes, almost every day. If you should reach school if you walk at the back gate and you reach there at around 6 a.m., 6 to 7 in the mornings, you will see the mess on the ground. And so what the persons from the school, the cleaners and all of those persons, they go out and you see them putting sand and all of these different stuff out there, because when I come to school, I go and buy my fruits by the fruits man. So I see everything that is taking place. All right, ladies. So we have
Yes,
an idea. Go
So
ahead.
I'm at Ivy school by like almost 6 o'clock. So I don't reach exactly 6 because it's normally dark when I reach school.
And
But I'm not the only one. So
I reach very
And I
early.
know that.
I reach the school early in the morning, so and I sit in the car and eat my fruits and pray and all of these different stuff. So I see everything that is taking place. Well, ladies, we know for sure that the population grew and there were some positive effects and negative effects of urbanization and population growth. And we also mentioned that we really can't separate, although historians separate urbanization from population growth, we really can't separate it, right? Because both of the points overlap. Now, ladies, working conditions, another effect of the the industrial revolution is horrible working condition. What do we mean by working condition?
Sir, did it like deteriorate due to the amount of waste that they were getting back and they couldn't dispose of it properly?
Yes, yes.
Or like in the factories, like sometimes like the machines would like, hurt the people and like there's a,
You're correct. You're correct.
Sir,
Also,
sir, where the like managers did the managers like treat them badly or
the managers also treat them badly. Yes. So we have some points here. Very good points. In fact, ladies, when we're talking about working conditions, and most of you would have mentioned it, somebody read this for me, please.
working conditions refers to the working environment and aspects of an employee's terms and conditions of employment. This covers such matters as the organization of work and work activities, health, safety, and well-being, and working time and work-life balance.
Very good. So when we talk about working conditions, we are talking about what was the work environment like? Was the environment clean? Was it dirty?
dirty and had rats.
So we know for sure that it was dirty. There was also a lot of rats. And also a lot of what? It starts with D.
Sir, B or D?
D as in dog. D.
Dirt.
We know for dirt, but why you think that they have on a lot of workplaces? Because what is going around?
Diseases and
Disease
viruses.
Sir.
and very good. Go ahead.
And viruses.
Go ahead. All right. So we know for sure that when we talk about, yes? Is that Kira? Okay. All right. So ladies, we know for sure that when we talk about working conditions, we're talking about the environment. What was the working environment like? And we know for sure that the working environment also looks at things like whether the place was clean or dirty. And we already know that the environment was very dirty and there was also a lot of diseases. Another thing, what were some of the conditions of work? So when you work, you usually sign a contract between you and the employer. The working conditions were very, very poor. The employers could just fire you anytime they want. For example, sometimes people work some places and the persons don't like you. And they just said, all right, I don't like you, go. They just fire you just like that. Or you go to your boss one morning and you said to the boss that you're smoking and I can't take the smoke. The boss just fire you instantaneously. Those were some of the horrible working conditions that they would have endured.
Is there also, sorry, also child labor?
And also a lot of child labor was going on during that period.
Sir, and me there now can't even get a job. How wicked is this?
I agree. But you know that child labor is illegal now, right?
Yes, sir, we know.
Yes. So so some of the other things dealing with work is that what were the hours that they would have worked? Did they get any break? Yes, how long was their working hour? Was there any
100 plus
balance?
hours a week.
Repeat.
So like they would get like 1 day's break, like Sunday or something. They would work
One,
6 hours.
very good, just a day. So we know for sure when we said the word horrible, we know that it is bad. The working condition was extremely bad. The environment was bad. The contract was bad. The hours in which the work was bad. The time work was bad. It was just horrible. And so, for example, labor, long working hours, they work for very long working hours. Yeah, child labor, where because they needed so many persons to work, they actually had to use the children. What is the pro and the con of using children as laborers?
There could be a lot of mistakes made.
Mistakes, yes, that is one.
Wait, what did you
They
say?
could get hurt.
Pros and cons?
Pros and cons of child labor.
Well,
They wouldn't be able to go to school.
You will not be able to go to school. So that is
Sure,
that
they
is
wouldn't be
that is also a con.
They could get hurt really bad.
Yes, so a lot of children died in the factory.
they can transport stuff for you, like if you want
Yes,
them to carry something to somebody.
that the adult workers.
that is true. And so for child labor, there's quite a lot of cons when it comes to child labor. In fact, at this time, children supposed to be going outside and play. Imagine children have to get up in the morning to go to work and come in the night. They don't get any
In
time.
the night,
Yes, they work from in the morning
they
until
should have
the
worked
night.
the same hours as the adults.
Yes, the same hours as the adults.
Oh, Jesus.
That's wickedness.
Now we get in somewhere. So we know for sure, ladies, that child labor, we know for sure that child labor was part of the horrible working condition. We know too, I don't think there's any pro to it. Maybe the pro to child labor, anyone want to guess? The pro, what was one of the positive of using child labor for the manufacturers?
They earn money, even though it's not a lot.
Sir, they have more people working though.
They had more people working.
Sir, so the children, there weren't any pros to the children working.
Yes.
So do the children get less pay than the adults would?
The children received way less pay than the adults. So just imagine a very poor family in Britain. The mother is going to work, the father is going to work, and the children going to work. Sometimes the entire family work in the same place. Anybody ever go work with the parents yet?
Yes.
No. Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
You
Yes.
enjoy going work with your parents?
No, it's boring.
No, sir.
Kind of.
Oh, I love going with my parents.
But the part I love the most is that I get to handle the money.
and that I get to run
Yes.
up and down and play. It's nice.
I get to handle the money.
All right.
I just sit there.
All right. But you see, when I was growing up, especially when it comes to summertime and I had to go to work with my parents,
Me want uncle money
it
too.
was very boring. I never like it. I prefer to stay home and watch TV. But that was not the reality. I had to go to work with my parents during the summer. So it's not only the children and the parents going to work at the same time, but the children are actually going to partake in the activities there. And so that is one of the negative effects of the child labor. Another thing is that the factories were overcrowded factories. And also there was a lot of injuries and a lot of persons actually died from the machines. Some of the machines malfunction. Some persons' hand were maimed from the machine. You put in it, you're trying to make something and your hand just slip in, all your fingers gone. It was horrible. Somebody, could you read this for me, please? Factories could.
Factories could run up to 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, and a typical shift was 10 to 14 hours. Automated equipment with moving parts was inherently dangerous, but workers usually received no compensation if any.
Very good. So just like what was said earlier, they got 1 day off. They work 6 days for the week, and their working hours were 10 to 14 hours. Right now, we go to work for 8 hours for the day. And if it is 8 hours and your parents come home and even you that go to school for some time for about 8 hours they go to school.
No, sir, 6 or 7.
6, sir.
It
It's
usually
6.
depends on the time that you reach at school though, because I normally just go like 5:40.
All
Like,
right. So if you just
Yeah, but
imagine
that's
when
for
you
people like Uzuma that reach the school. Like,
and then I leave back at 5:30.
just imagine. So when you reach home, you're very tired, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Not even to watch a nice little show on the TV.
Yes, sir, me find a way for what something.
You find a
Find
way.
something. Oh, yeah.
Well, yes, I'll try, but at the same time, I just want to go to bed. I don't even want to eat anything. So
Some days when I leave work, I am so tired that when I reach home, I just want to bathe and just go straight to bed, not even to eat. So I agree with you. So it was the same experience that they had in Britain, the same very experience. They work for longer hours than what we are working for, because right now we are working for 8 hours and they worked for 10 to 14 hours. So in fact, if you live at very long distances, then by the time you take 1 hour, 2 hours to reach home, you sleep. By the next day, by the next
Same.
couple of hours, it's time to go back to work.
Sir,
Go
but when
ahead.
I my mother, I work for 10 hours. Well, she works for 10 hours. I work for 5. Yeah.
So your, which is currently?
What did you say, sir?
Currently, your mother work for 10 hours?
Yeah.
But when she work for 10 hours, she don't tired.
Yeah. Sometimes she even forgets to cook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is some of the negative effects of the long working hours. And remember that their condition, at least for now, some of us might have a helper to come and help out. These were very poor people in Britain and they had no helpers. They had to do everything for themselves. So you can imagine why diseases would have spread. Because
Sir,
go ahead.
sir, isn't it illegal to work over a certain amount of hours?
No.
Time.
Yeah.
You can, right now, you're supposed to work 8 hours. But if you should decide to work additional hours, they have to give you overtime pay.
Sir,
but back then, there was no limit. There was no law to talk about how long a person should work. They could get a work that they should say, all right, 15 hours to work. No law to say, no, you can't give them 15 hours. Some people actually lived at the workplaces, the factories.
Wait, so say what about like doctors?
Repeat, Farquharson.
Doctors. Like no, I'm talking about no. How like they still work 8 hours or like they go over?
What? No?
Yes, sir.
All right, so if you work for 8 hours now, you get overtime pay. However, back then there was no such thing as an overtime pay.
Okay.
So you had to, back then, in fact, there was no law that said that a worker must work for a set number of time. The employer decide how long they want you to work. If the employer said 23 hours for the day, you get 1 hour break, 1 sleep, get up, get back to work. That was the reality. So you understand what when we talk about horrible working condition, that it was very horrible?
Yes, sir.
It was very, very horrible. So we have an idea what the conditions are. Now, working conditions. I was going to go through the positive and negative, but we would have looked at that. Mass production. Another effect is mass production. What do we mean by mass production?
Sir, a lot of goods were made for the market.
A lot of goods were made for the market. Very good. So when we talk about mass production is the manufacturing of large quantities of goods. What were some of the goods that were made? The main good. The main one, what was it? The main product.
Clothes.
Clothing, textile was one of the main one. What were the others that were made?
Where did they make things like carpentry?
Yes.
Food stuff.
Furniture, food, mass production when it comes to food. Any other thing when it comes to mass production? What?
Sir, transportation.
Transportation, a lot of cars. They are going to make anything else?
Machines.
A lot of machines. Yes. So when it comes to mass production, ladies, they are going to make things like glass, all the crockeries and the chinawares that we have in our home. They're going to produce them in great abundance. Anything with us, they're going to create the clocks, the papers. They're going to make a lot of papers, pottery, anything to do with iron. So they're going to make iron table. They're going to make iron stools. Not only stools with board or stools that comes from mahogany board, but they're going to make things with the iron because England at the time had a large deposit of iron.
They can make houses.
Yes, so they are doing, so these are some of the things that they are doing. Now, ladies, back then, before the Industrial Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, only the wealthy in England could have China wares in their homes. Only the wealthy, the kings and the queens and the nobles. But as a result of the Industrial Revolution, the common man, the poor man, now have access to glass cups and plates and all of these different stuff. Another thing that is going to come from the iron is that they're going to make a lot of forks and knives and spoons and guns.
Sir, so more into the industrial revolution, like the value of some things went down.
Yes, so goods are now going to become way cheaper. So you realize that right now, anybody have a glass in their house? Everybody have glass in their house.
But they're producing more.
They are producing more. And so as they produce more, it gets cheaper and cheaper. So people, right now, if you go downtown and you go and buy a coffee in Bashka, you can get a glass cup for $20. You know that? Yes. What? You can get a glass cup in Bashka for $20.
$20 US, sir.
20 Jamaican dollars.
Where is that?
Bashko.
Sir, did you that sound like it raised, sir. That sound like it raised already, sir.
No, you can go into Bashka to any day. Tell your parents you're going to Bashka and you see the cups. Cups in Bashka selling for $20, $50. You have plate and cup. You can get plate and cup for $120.
Sir, one.
Each or in a pack?
In a pack.
You're sure?
Yeah.
That don't make sense. That don't sound right.
Are you sure?
That is cap. That is cap. This is Jamaica.
It is Jamaica. In Bashka, you get cup and plate.
Sir, in US dollars.
Oh, in Jamaican dollars.
Sir, no,
Wait, sir, it's at least 200 for like a ceramic plate.
Exactly.
Sir, they're barely selling lollipops for $20 now. Must let a cup. Must let a pack.
Exactly. Even Jolly Ranchers raise
$10.
Still for Jolly Rancher.
All right. So listen up now, ladies. So the goods get way cheaper. The quantity, there's much more, and the quality of the goods are better. Mass production. So those are some of the impact when it comes to mass production, right? So let us do a quick recap. The first effect we looked at was population growth. The second effect was
urbanization.
The third effect we look at was
mass production.
Well, we're now looking at mass production.
Horrible working conditions.
Horrible working.
Labor, sir.
Horrible working conditions, and now we look at mass production, right? Very good. Another effect that is going to take place is that with all of these things taking place now, is that we're also going to have new professions. From your reading, what are some of the new professions that came about? If you look at my list, I have on my list that you have factory workers. So that was a new one. Factory workers. In the factory, you have people operating the machines. So this was a very new profession where you have people operating the machine. If the machine had any problem, then you call a technician to fix the machine. So you have machine technicians, people to design roads. What are the other positions you think that are going to emerge?
The people that
a tailor or like something that dress up. What do they call again? People that make clothes.
Seamstress?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have those independent persons, yes? Any other?
Sir, people who ship their products to other countries.
Yes, so you are going to have people who are going to be in shipping merchants. So we can add. So we have new merchants that emerge because we always had merchants. So you have new merchants and they work in the shipping industry. One other effect is that one other profession, what emerged during this time? It starts with B.
Start with what?
B as in boy.
Businesses.
Businesses, yes, but it's somewhere you go to get money.
Banks?
Banks.
Bank.
So you're going to have now bankers.
Tellers.
You're going to have tellers. And something that is linked to bank is what? It starts with I.
Insurance companies?
Insurance companies. So you have insurers. Very good. So these are some of the professions that are going to emerge. A lot of banks are going to emerge during this time. A lot of insurance companies, merchants, technicians when it comes to the machine, operators of machine, because the persons who fix the machines are not the same persons who operate the machines. Roads are being built. And also you're going to have new shipbuilders.
So what about innovators?
And yes, the innovators would be the persons who make the machines, correct?
Sir, sir, you don't have investors.
Yes, yes, we have investors also.
Where is it?
The innovators, those are the ones who invent machines and the different things. So these are some of the things that are taking place here, ladies. New professions. Also, if you have a factory, you're going to have, for every factory, so for example, you have a factory with 4 different departments, 4 different sections of a factory. Each department must have somebody who is called a head. And what we usually, a head of department is sometimes called a, it starts with S.
Manager?
No.
Secretary?
No.
Sir, what did you say?
Sir, CEO?
Head of the HOD.
Not HOD.
Manager?
Manager? They're not the manager that are the CEO.
Manager, sir.
So you're going to have factory managers and you're going to have factory supervisors.
Oh,
sir.
The CEOs own like businesses.
Yes, the CEO are the ones who actually own the banks and the businesses and the factory.
So, sir, what the CEO stands for? I always want to know that, and I couldn't find.
Anybody know what CEO stand for?
Sir, isn't it Chief Executive Officer?
Chief Executive Officer. Correct.
Okay.
I'm the CFO.
All right. So the CEO is somebody who is not, well, right now it is different. You control the company, but you only direct the company when it comes to policies. You tell what the company should do, but you are not directly involved in the day-to-day operation. So for example,
So sir, the CEO basically doesn't like do the labor.
They don't do this. All right, let's give you an example.
They're probably like the paperwork and stuff to ensure the company is safe and intact, and
yes,
ensure that they're doing the work.
Yes. So for example, you have Parkinson. Parkinson, you are the CEO of this class. So what you do, your position in the class is that you tell the, and I would be the manager. So you are the CEO, Parkinson, I am the manager. So what you do is that you tell me that, listen, at the end of the month, every student in the class is supposed to get a grade 1, right? The manager now is the one, so that is the policy. The policy is that all the students should get grade 1. Is the manager responsibility is to ensure that every student get the grade 1. And then I might say, all right, in order for every student to get the grade 1, I might put Alia, I might put another someone as a supervisor to monitor the other student. So you have supervisors, you have managers, then you have the CEO. Some company, go ahead. Someone?
They were not saying anything, we're listening.
I hear somebody's background. That's right.
On the mute in the mic, please.
All right, ladies, another major thing that is going to take place during this time is improvement when it comes to transportation and communication. Communication, transportation. So what are some of the things? You're going to have locomotive, you're going to have steamships, you're going to have telegram, or you have airplane, radios, automobile, which are cars. These are all the different
Ships and those things.
Repeat.
I said ships.
Motorcycles.
Yes. So for the ships, not the motorcycles, but for the ships, this is what is it. Steamship is a form of ship. Let us show you the new ships that they are going to have. You are seeing my screen, or you're just seeing the PowerPoint?
I'm just seeing the PowerPoint.
Okay, I'm coming. So this is it. These are examples of steamships. When you see steamships, so what is going to happen is that they are going to use the cold. All the coal that the British had, they are going to use the coal within the engine of the ship. And so that is going to allow the ships to move much faster. It's going to go at greater rate. The ships are going to get much larger. And so you can carry more goods on the ships. All right?
Yeah.
So these are some examples of the steamship. One of the major steamship that would have happened during this time is the Titanic.
Wait, oh, those carry passengers.
That also carry passengers. So what is going to happen now? People now going to go on vacation. Quite a lot of vacation going to take place where people is going to travel from.
Sarah, wasn't that the big old ship where them big crowd? And then the
yeah, it did sing.
Yes.
Some survived though.
Some. So we know for sure, ladies, that the steamships, because before the steamship, you know, they usually have some very cheap, well, not cheap, I shouldn't say cheap, but the ships.
Sir, that's why we catch fire. Oh, I just get it, sir.
Yes. So with the steamships, you see all this smoke coming up on the top?
Yes, sir.
They use the cold in it.
Sir, the coal, not the cold.
Yeah, the coal to fuel the engine of the
Sir,
ship.
then no leave a coal that used to just one journey, sir.
Yes, it is a lot, but remember that England at the time had an abundance.
Oh yeah, they have a leave a coal, yes, sir.
So it was nothing hard for them. And so they carried, where is it? This is it. You are seeing the PowerPoint now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, but not the right. Oh, yes, sir.
So what they had was that the steam ships, you go have airplane, no radios for communication. Back then, you could not really get any information easily, but now with the radio, you can, information will just quickly pass from one area to the next. Telegraphs are things like mail. You send mails from one area to the next. Back then, it usually takes 6 weeks for a mail to reach from Jamaica to England. With the steamships, it takes roughly 2 weeks to reach. You have your goods, for example, you have your family members living in England at the time, London, you live in Kingston. As a result of steamships and the airplane and all of these different stuff, you can send them a nice little package and it will reach them in 2 weeks. Back then, it usually takes 6 weeks or more for them to receive a package, sometimes 3 or 4 months. Although Ship Me right now is taking a very long time to get my package here.
Oh my.
Yes.
Sure, people could migrate to find better job opportunities.
A lot of people migrate to find better.
It's still happening in today's society.
Still. All right. So, ladies, these were some of the effects. All right. So what I want you to do, because you might get an assignment, well, a test on it, know the positive. So write 3 positive and 3 negative. Not every one of them you can find 3 positive, but I'm sure you can find at least 3 negative for each. So write 3 positives, 3 negative for each of the different effects. See how you can explain the effects. All right? So,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy the holiday. You have Monday,
Sir,
Tuesday.
do you have a holiday?
So
Yes.
the test is after break?
The test, I'm not, I have to discuss with Mrs. Brown Chambers when the test is going to be.
So that would be like week after next week or something, but like not
Oh,
after.
we have a test next week. We have a few tests next week, yeah. I'm loaded.
Some of us have like work that is due in,
Next week. Yeah.
I'm not,
everything due.
I know the test is going to be next week, because if the test was going to be next week, you would have known already.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Most
So
likely.
you're not getting a test next week, but maybe the following week we might announce and say you're gonna get a test. But I doubt it's gonna be next.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
enjoy the holiday.
Thank you, sir, and
See
same
you
to
on
you.
Friday.
Thank you,
See
sir.
you on Friday. Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy.
Bye, sir.
Sir, tell Auntie
Sir.
Candy.
Bye.
Repeat.